Tonight, in a WUSA 9 exclusive, we are pushing to find out more about the owner of those escaped zebras in Prince George's County. Last week, we took you to Florida, where we reported Jerry Lee Holly's long history of wildlife violations and even a criminal conviction in that state. In Maryland, he's facing charges of animal cruelty. And tonight, we've tracked down some of Holly's zebras. WUSA 9 investigative reporter Nathan Baca is in Cookeville, Tennessee, where those animals and more went to the highest bidder. Nathan joins us from Tennessee with what he's learned. Hi, Nathan.
Well, Leslie, we watched it happen. Holly's zebras sold to the highest bidder as well as some of his monkeys. Now, the exotic animal trade is big business here in Tennessee, and it is completely legal. And we know that Jerry Lee Holly has done business here before.
So 47 in the highest, your number is?
This is W Exotic Animal Auction at Wilson Horse and Mule Sale. It's located in Middle Tennessee. While exotic animal sales are illegal in Maryland and D.C. and severely limited in Virginia, Tennessee is a hotspot for exotic animal auctions. People from all over the country come to places like the W to stock their farms, petting zoos, and roadside attractions. When we called W asking for a tour of the place and an interview about how it's run, a manager declined. So like anyone else can do, we paid for tickets and using our cell phones out in the open, captured what happened over the last 6 days. The auction started on Monday with cattle, some of them more exotic longhorns. On Tuesday, the auctioneer identified cattle coming from Jerry Holly's Florida ranch. One of Holly's representatives sold several of the livestock. Holly was cited over 240 times for wildlife violations over 17 years, according to Florida public records. He currently faces 3 Maryland animal cruelty charges after the death of one of his zebras from an illegal snare trap, and another zebra died inside an enclosure, according to a state complaint. Holly declined to comment to WUSA 9. Some of his zebras are still on the run in Prince George's County. Meanwhile, in Tennessee on Wednesday afternoon, zebras began arriving, kept in pens. While the pens weren't heated, they appeared clean and with enough room for the animals to move.
One male, one female.
The next day, the zebras went on the auction block. A dozen of them were sold, 2 belonging to Jerry Holly.
They belong to Jerry Holly. So 7,100 right over here.
Exotic animal auctions are cesspools of cruelty.
Debbie Metzler is Associate Director for Captive Animal Law Enforcement for PETA, or People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
And this is all because they're treated like commodities by the clientele of these exotic animal auctions, which are roadside zoos, circuses or traveling acts, and canned hunting ranches.
A review of the past 3 years of U.S. agriculture document inspection records showed W repeatedly violated the law by selling to people without proper wildlife licenses. It was also flagged for allowing large animals to be penned without cover during rainy weather, causing animals to sink in the mud. When asked about repeated citations at the auction house, a USDA spokesperson responded, "There is no set number of non-compliances that will start an investigation." But records do show the agency routinely inspects W multiple times a year.
Animals are adaptable, but it's important that their needs are being met for what the species requires. And oftentimes, roadside zoos and breeders and other facilities are operating on shoestring budgets. They're not interested in providing for welfare needs because they're interested in lining their pockets.
Been in a petting zoo and they're really gentle. One of them's a female.
We don't know. These zebras are going, including the 2 that Jerry Holly's representative sold on Thursday. Bidders are identified only by number. According to the auctioneer, zebras are sold in pairs because they typically have a mate, whether it be a mother and a child or adult zebra and a friendly donkey. Despite the auctioneer's advice, bidders are under no obligation to keep pairs together. We witnessed multiple times zebra pairs were separated, including Holly's zebras, causing the auctioneer to warn that could result in separated zebras physically harming themselves and even dying in transport. These zebras face an unknown future, often away from the eyes of accredited wildlife experts and into the hands of business people wanting a profitable return on their sizable investment. Because of different laws around the country, it's difficult to track if zebras are being protected.
Now today we can tell you that the auction ended with exotic animals including monkeys, wallabies, and kangaroos. Now management told us to leave the auction before we can reach out to Holly's representative for comment.
So what kind of money are we talking about? I understand Holly's zebras went for between $5,000 and $7,000.
That's right, and alpacas and also llamas were big business here. We saw several dozen of them auction off one day, many of them going for several thousand apiece. And as far as the business goes, the auction house takes about a 10% commission. The most expensive animal we saw auction off here was a camel for $9,100. Leslie.
All right, Nathan, thank you so much.
Well, this next story is all new at 11. This month, we've taken you inside the exotic animal trade and exposed the loose laws in some states. While Maryland has some of the stricter laws on exotic animal sales, it still didn't stop a zebra from being sold in the state tonight. WUSA 9 investigative reporter Nathan Baca went to an animal auction in Thurmont, Maryland tonight, where a zebra went for top dollar.
This zebra, a 3-year-old male, went for $15,300 at auction Friday night. Hundreds of people came to Eiler's Stables Horse and Livestock Auction in Thurmont, Maryland.
06, 206, 206, better have 206. Let's give her a round of applause for buying that here, ladies and gentlemen.
Cameras weren't allowed inside the auction barn, but we joined others in inspecting the horses and this unusual addition, a zebra. It's New Jersey-based stable owner telling prospective buyers he trained it to be saddle-ridden. 2 weeks ago in Tennessee, we witnessed zebras auction off for $7,000. That difference shows the potential profit in the zebra trade. While Maryland law forbids the sale and possession of exotic animals, there is no mention of zebras, even though scientists consider them exotics. Meanwhile, auction houses and farms are classifying zebras as equines, selling them the same as horses versus exotics. The Southern Pennsylvania family that bought the zebra, while not going on camera, told me they bought it because it would be nice to have one around. Last week, we highlighted a 6-month-old zebra filly that was to be auctioned off here in Thurmont. We learned that zebra never made it to the auction. We do not know why. The zebra auction off in Maryland came with a mate, a friendly pony. Auctioneers in Maryland and in Tennessee warn prospective buyers it's best for the zebra's health to buy both animals. Not doing so can be deadly for a zebra during transport from the stress of missing its mate. But the pony went to a different bidder for $2,500. In Thurmont, Maryland, Nathan Baca, WUSA 9.